Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 0 of Moon Knight: The Fist of Khonshu, written by Jed McKay. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. In a realm of gods and legends, Khonshu, the greatest of the great gods, stands freed from his chains in Asgard. Once imprisoned and powerless, he is now returned to his place of power, reunited with his children, whom he calls his fists. Khonshu declares a holy war, sending his followers into battle. So as the world weeps under the veil of night, blood spills, and unclean creatures roam unchecked. Vampires, the scourge of the lightless night, have long been Khonshu's enemies since their creation led to the fall of Atlantis. Now his mission remains steadfast as he sends his children to cleanse the world with anointed silver, marking the skies with his symbol, the moon. Now in the modern nights, not all blood drinkers are foes. Reese Williams, clad in white and marked with Khonshu's symbol, fights to protect the innocent. Yet, despite her bravery and strength, she does not fully align with Khonshu's beliefs, as her conviction lies in the legacy of Khonshu's eldest son and the Midnight Mission. Then there's Reese's ally, Soldier, who embodies the voids of violence and service, driven by a need to fight for something greater. Soldier's fierce dedication aligns him with Khonshu's other sons, which all seeks to fill their own voids through service and violence. So among Khonshu's disciples are two vampires and a fool that stand out. Jeff Hasks, known as 8-Ball, perplexes Khonshu. Despite his cowardice and criminal past, 8-Ball's presence in the Midnight Mission intrigues Khonshu, as he finds something oddly compelling about the fool. The healer, Dr. Andrea Sturman, remains outside the direct influence of Khonshu's mission. Her duty of care and dedication to healing those harmed by violence make her an essential, though independent, part of the Midnight Mission. Now she does Khonshu's work, even if she does not fully embrace his ways. The strangest of Khonshu's eldest son's disciples is the Midnight Mission itself, which is a living haunted house from another dimension. Now this creature, often banished by the world's defenders, found a new purpose and mission when Khonshu's son offered it compassion and a place in their cause. Khonshu reflects on his beloved youngest son, the Hunter's Moon. Since saving him in his first death, Khonshu has watched him grow and develop self-determination. Though loyal and a liberator of Khonshu's freedom, the youngest son occasionally questions his father's edicts, requiring correction. Of all Khonshu's eldest son's companions, the Warwoman, the Striped Mother, and the Constant Widow give him pause. And to top it off, she has a stink of divinity upon her, for she was once the avatar of the hated Tiger God. But worse than that, she has a love for Khonshu's son, who reciprocates her feelings, which challenge Khonshu's jealousy as a god and a father. So he struggles with the idea that their love might take precedence over loyalty to him. Now speaking of Khonshu's eldest son, he is a complex being, made up of 3 personas: Jake Lockley, the Embracer, Stephen Grant, the Pathfinder, and Mark Spector, the Traveler. Together, these 3 aspects of his son navigate the world, each contributing to Khonshu's mission in their unique ways. For all 3 is him, and he is Moon Knight, and as his oldest son and fist, he draws out dual feelings within Khonshu. Because despite his title, he is still his greatest disappointment and proudest achievement. And as the architect of Khonshu's imprisonment, he also revealed himself to be the reason of his liberation. And because of that, Khonshu loves him as a father must love his son. But at the same time, he hates him as a god must hate his apostate. So in short, Khonshu swells with pride in his service to his name. So with that said, they are bound together by life, death, love, and hate because, in the end, they are family. In another part of the city, Zodiac, a figure of chaos and violence, grappled with a crisis of faith. His obsession with Moon Knight, Khonshu's son, left him shaken as he found his plans thwarted. He had finally found his opposite number, his magnum opus, only to have it taken from him. And in the end, there is nothing more interesting to a god than a man in doubt of his faith. But where Zodiac struggles, other thrives. Gangsters gather like jackals, emboldened by the perceived death of Moon Knight, begin to plot their ascendancy, unaware that the hero still lived and the streets would soon run red with blood. So as the tale unfolded, other predators emerged, seeking to challenge Khonshu's disciples. The times ahead promised trials that would test the faith of Hunter's Moon and the defiance of Moon Knight. Khonshu, now free from his imprisonment, pondered the drama his fists had created. He was ready to directly influence the unfolding events, asserting his dominance as the greatest of the gods, eternal and unyielding. The city awaited, bathed in the glow of the moon, as Khonshu's presence loomed large, which set the stage for the battles and alliances that would shape the future. So following that, we jump over to a mini-story about Khonshu and his interaction with a fellow god, a god by the name Sidorak. Now upon seeing him, Khonshu states, "Sidorak the Rampage, the Crimson Destroyer, the moon rises in your fetid realm once more as our accounts remain unsettled." But no matter what Khonshu said, Sidorak remained silent and just ignored his presence. Now, this pissed Khonshu off, because he went on to say, ignoring a fellow god is extremely dangerous. And the only way his silence could be warranted is if he felt guilt. Because celestial bodies, even the really big ones like the moon, must obey certain laws, because those laws explain how things work in the world. So, with that explained, Khonshu goes on to say, would that it were so simple a thing between us, as to be resolved with less than a whisper. Even though we are cut from the same umbral cloth, I am beneath your notice. And perhaps an eye full of khopesh carved from the corpse heart of the all-known mother will garner your attention. So, with that said, Khonshu went on to say he was forsaken by his own and left to rot, even though they had a pact, because that pact is a meaningless falsity forged with an indifferent liar. So, no wonder humans lost faith in them. What of your covenants with them, great Sidorak? Stephen Strange is a shade, felled by the undead. Are you still honor-bound to keep your pledge to a ghost? What if he fails to regain human form? So as Sidorak continues to ignore Khonshu, Khonshu decides to hit a nerve and ask what happened to the Crimson Cosmos and what becomes of his children. Now with that comment, Sidorak turned his head for the first time, just as Khonshu exited the scene. So with the immovable Sidorak moved, Khonshu said farewell and will wait until they are in equitable surroundings to talk again. And just like that, this issue ends, as Sidorak watching Spider-Man swing over the city. Now, I have to say, I am excited to see what is going to happen next, and Mark Spector's Moon Knight story since he is back. And I understand there is mixed feelings about the Blood Hunt event, but I hope we all can agree that the return of Moon Knight is a major takeaway and highlight of this event as a whole. But despite my love for the X-Men comics, I am extremely excited for some of these additional Marvel stories moving forward, and this is chief among them. Now I was going to cover the X-Men from the Ashes sampler, but all that ended up being were previews from comics that was going to come out later. And because of that, I rather just continue to cover what I'm covering until they actually drop. But in the meantime, if there is any older X-Men story you all would like me to cover, just put it down below, and I'll see what I could do. Now with that out there, if you want to stay in the loop about any individual storyline, then how about you hop over to the playlist section down below or in the link cards above to get all caught up on the Blood Hunt event. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.